The sign of the Son of Man. What is the sign of the Son of Man? And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. Matthew 24:30. The Saviour gives signs of his coming, and more than this, he fixes the time when the first of these signs shall appear. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven, and then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he shall send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Ellen White, Desire of Ages. It is therefore a sign that precedes the second coming of Jesus. Are there any further clues as to what the sign of the Son of Man is? A wicked and adulterous generation seeketh after a sign, and there shall no sign be given unto it but the sign of the prophet Jonas. And he left them and departed. Matthew 16:4. So it is a sign that is connected with Jonah. Did something special happen to Jonah? He was swallowed by a fish. Now the Lord had prepared a great fish to swallow up Jonah. And Jonah was in the belly of the fish 3 days and 3 nights. Jonah 1:17. The sign of the Son of Man is therefore associated with a fish. Are there any clues how a fish is in connection with Christians? The first Christians used the fish as an identifying feature after the Greek word ichthys, which each initial letter having its own meaning. Jesus, Christos, the Anointed One, Theou, of God, Hios, Son, Soter, Savior or Redeemer. Compounded, it means Jesus Christ, Son of God, the Savior. The fish was therefore a central symbol of the first Christians. Does the Bible give us any more clues as to where we should look? And when these things begin to come to pass, then look up and lift up your heads, for your redemption draweth nigh. Luke 21:28. So we should lift up our heads, i.e. look upwards. There we can see the firmament. Have others seen anything there before us? In his isolated home, John was able to study more closely than ever before the manifestations of divine power as recorded in the book of nature and in the pages of inspiration. To him it was a delight to meditate on the work of creation and to adore the divine architect. In former years his eyes had been greeted by the sight of forest-covered hills, green valleys and fruitful plains, and in the beauties of nature it had ever been his delight to trace the wisdom and skill of the Creator. He was now surrounded by scenes that to many would appear gloomy and uninteresting, but to John it was otherwise. While his surroundings might be desolate and barren, the blue heavens that bent above him were as bright and beautiful as the skies above his loved Jerusalem. In the wild rugged rocks, in the mysteries of the deep, in the glories of the firmament, he read important lessons. All bore a message of God's power and glory. From Ellen White, Acts of Apostles. After this I looked, and behold, a door was opened in heaven. And the first voice which I heard was as it were of a trumpet talking with me, which said, Come up hither, and I will shew thee things which must be hereafter. Revelation 4:1. John himself describes here that the vision from Revelation was shown to him in heaven. What can we conclude from this? We are to look at the firmament. But what does this have to do with the sign of the Son of Man? Are there any indications of where the sign of the Son of Man will appear? And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn, and they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven, with power and great glory. Matthew 24:30. The Saviour gives signs of his coming, and more than this. He fixes the time when the first of these signs shall appear. Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven. From Ellen White, Desire of Ages. So the sign of the Son of Man will appear in heaven. The sign of the Son of Man is therefore a fish appearing in heaven. Can it already be seen? Indeed! Comet C 2022 E3 CTF and Comet C 2017 K2 Pawn Stars draw a giant fish in heaven. For more information, check out the video description. Do you listen to God's voice?